Amazon purposefully removing updates and systems that make free-to-play viable. I also, yeah, I guess like we're going to talk about this because didn't Amazon, my understanding here is that Amazon actually responded to the player base with this. Yeah, am I right about that? I believe that they did. They responded to the player base because like, I don't know if I told you guys about this or not. Yeah, it's on top. Okay. There it is. Where can I see? Like usually like on WoW, oh, dev tracker. No reward. I'm just looking for seeing here. I just want to see what this is. Okay. So this isn't getting out of hand, it's gotten out of hand. Oh, wow. Wait, are these all posts that were made by developers? Are these all people that made posts about it? These are all developers by Seawolf? That's great. Holy shit, this is really great. Oh my god. I'm trying to make sure that I get everything else caught up, and then we can look at everything, okay, guys? No community managers? Well, still that they're speaking on behalf of the company. Usually you don't really have that happen. The community managers are still employed by Amazon, right? Like, they're still Amazon employees? Because if they're still Amazon employees, what they say is still them speaking for the company. Whether it's a developer or a community manager, it's viewed the same, really, in my mind, because this is the vision that they're trying to relay. Guys speaking 3 different languages. Well, this is Rox. This is another one of the community managers. Okay, so basically, I'm just making sure that I'm looking at the right thing. This is getting out of hand. 1340, a light spender. Okay, so we're going to go through. We're not going to read the entire thread. We're just going to look at the top post here, and we're also going to look at the amount of the resources and everything like that people are talking about. Because this is a lot of stuff that's been happening, and like to me, like this is how I see it. Is I think it's good that they're actually responding to people and not just fucking around and doing some like weird like, oh well, we're gonna deal with this and whatever. This is common practice for a lot of live games. You've just been conditioned to think otherwise with Blizzard. You could very well be right. Yeah, you could very fucking well be right. So I want to talk a little bit about the base of this conversation, right? Is that whenever I say that Lost Ark getting 1370 free to play is possible, that does not mean that it is something just because one person or a dozen people can do it. That does not mean that it is good game design. Just because one person can overcome this challenge or 3 people can overcome this challenge does not mean that it's good game design. So I'm not, whenever I say that, it's okay that, it, you know, because some people can, or some people can get 1370, it's free to play. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm only saying that it's possible just because that's true. That's all I'm trying to say. It just takes time. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. It's not impossible. That's exactly it. Give me a minute. Excuse me. Okay, I'm better there. It's a lot of luck. Yeah, I think there is a lot of luck with this. And so a lot of people have been unhappy about this. And they've been talking about the whole Lost Ark stuff and just in general. I think that the Argos release has left a lot of really sour taste in people's mouths. And I think that the other reason, here's the big reason why the Argus release has made a lot of people upset, okay? Let's go ahead. That's from yesterday. Let's go ahead. Don't save that. So basically, this is the difficulty curve. So let's see right here. All right, so this is difficulty. Let's see, eye level. ILVL, and this is DIFF. Okay. ICULTY. So this is difficulty, right? Right here, this is 1370. So what happens is that it's actually easier to get to 1385. It's easier to get from 1370 to 1385 than it is to get to from 1355, I guess you would say, to 1370. That is a huge problem. Yeah, it should be 340 item level. Well, no, this is getting to 1370 is the hardest thing to do. And then after you get to 1370, you go down and you start, instead of having a 10% honing upgrade chance, you have a 60% honing upgrade chance. And some people say, oh, well, what about the silver? It doesn't matter. Like, even, yes, obviously it costs way more silver and way more honor shards in order to upgrade beyond 1370. It does, but the truth is that those materials are a lot cheaper. Those materials are straight up way fucking cheaper, and the material cost, especially also, here's another factor, is that all players, this is another reason why, all players right now are receiving some amount of greater honor leap stones, but only 1% of players are actually using the greater honor leap stones. What does that create? That creates a supply and demand problem, or a price and demand problem, where there is such a high supply that the demand of these greater honor leap stones is so low that the price for them is actually lower than what it would naturally be. And because of that, it actually becomes even cheaper to upgrade to 1385 because you have cheaper upgrade materials comparatively to their actual appropriate value. Because all players are getting these greater crystals injected into the economy, but all players are not able to accurately use them. So then they sell them, and then the real price is with the normal honor crystals. And this is how the economics work with the game. And anybody who knows anything about economics would tell you this. Like, I'm not a fucking genius for being able to recognize this. Anybody could fucking see this. And so that's what happens. Greater honor leap stones are still 850 to 900 on Nod. They shot up from 475 a week ago. Well, of course they did, because more people are using them now. But it's still cheaper comparatively. Like, their rarity is not equivalent with their price. Whereas the honor leap stones is also not equivalent with their price. Their rarity is also not equivalent with their price. Honor leap stones are overpriced, and I think that the greater honor leap stones are still underpriced. I think so. It goes up when whales log in? Yeah, I think so. And so dropping new boss, high item level, forcing us to grind 2 weeks to access new content? Yeah, I think so too. So let's go back over. We're going to look at the rest of these. Greater honors are extremely overpriced right now. Well, probably because whales are competing for them. But especially before this happened, like maybe a couple of days ago, they were extremely underpriced. And this will obviously change more as more people get over this threshold right here. But right now, they're still underpriced compared to what I think that they will be priced in maybe, 2 months. That's what I'm really trying to get at. So their price will go up, where Honor Leapstone's price will go down. I could talk about this for a long time, but it doesn't really matter that much. What I'm really saying is that this is the problem right here. Like, this right here is where the frustration occurs. The frustration occurs whenever you have a rich get richer situation, a rich get richer scenario, where somebody goes and they reach a peak right there and they get to 1370 and they get even higher, because what you have also is a snowball effect. Because once you get to that point in the game, now you can also go and you can do the higher level dungeons. You can buy the higher level leap stones, and you're able to buy these really good items and then sell them. You're able to get rings and things like this with like +3 onto engravings with class stats if you're doing the the abyssal dungeons. So you just start snowballing, and then you can also sell tripods as well from your chaos dungeons, and those you can sell to pretty much fucking anybody. So that's what ends up happening, right? Is that you have players that spend a lot of money, and they spend so much money that then they have basically a ticket to make even more. You see kind of that's kind of what happens? Does that make sense? So we're going to look and see what Amazon's response to this is too, and we're going to talk about that as well. Disagree? I think this is just like this is just like a numbers game, right? Like, I don't think that this is really a disagree situation, because it's an objective fact that the only way you can access legendary rings is by having a very high item level. So if you can't access the legendary rings because you don't have the high item level, then you can't make the money. Yeah, this is not a this is a literal fact. Like, I don't know what else to say. So let's see here. Heartbreaking state of Lost Ark. I mean, it'd be hilarious to have the average gamer, passionate CM. I'd love to see Karen responses. Let me see if I can scroll down and read some of the posts that they've made. I'll provide some context. Where is this here? I'm bringing this topic today to address a couple issues that not only concern me, but are actually giving me considerable reason to quit playing until they're fixed. To provide some context, I'm a light spender, less than $100 spent outside of the Gold Founders Pack, and I have approximately 400 hours played since the Western release. I'm currently sitting at 1355 item level on my main, and have several alts nearing tier 30 as well. Here's what I'm seeing. People who just dump money into the game, what we call swiping, with maybe 1/3 of the time played that I do, some even less, have passed me in progression. These people are able to enjoy the end game content you both claim you are trying to push the player base to, because of your own conferences have stated the point of Abyssal and Legion raids are where you get to see the highest player retention rate. So basically, he's talking about people like me. Like, obviously, I just said people trade me the gear, buying the gear. It's all the same, in my opinion. I've said this before. There's no difference in my mind whenever if I'm getting traded the gear, if I'm spending money on the gear, it's all the same. So that's the way I see it. And so let's look over here. Meanwhile, those who actually put in time and effort to reach these goals can't even get the materials and have the honing rates to get your goal of retention. This brings up the current honing rates in order to reach this goal. At current, the rates are abysmal with the amount of resources we have available to us each day and week. That's true. And like, this is another real big factor that people don't keep in mind. Not only are the honing rates higher in Korea, but on top of them being higher in Korea, they also have more resources and more ways to obtain more resources. So it's like, not only, so like it costs more, it's like I remember this happened like now, like right about now. Like, how much is gas where y'all are at? If you live in America here, how much is gas right now? Yeah, how much is gas right now for you guys? Like, I went to the fucking gas station today. I forgot to look. It's like $4.50, right? In 2010, 2011, gas hit $4. So like, this was like, right now, we are not in as much of a recession as we were back then, but I remember what it was like back then. You had to spend, you were getting fucking like suppressed wages, and also the price of gas was going up. So you're getting hit coming and going. It's not like, oh, money's going up, right? Inflation has occurred. Like, $100,000 10 years ago is not what $100,000 is today. So it's just, that's the way inflation happens. It's because of fucking fractional reserve banking, and I understand about 5% of what I need to understand to really understand why that happens. I am not a finance major. I took many finance classes, but I am not a finance major. So the point is that, what was I talking about this for? Right. So not only are your rates going down, so you're effectively getting less money, but what your money can buy is less valuable. And this is exactly what happened to gas 10 years ago. And this is what's happening right now in Lost Ark. And for you guys that were adults back then, and I was just becoming an adult back then, it was fucking terrible, man. It was absolutely fucking terrible. When I'm the only person that fucking remembers this shit, it was awful. It was absolutely fucking awful. It was terrible. So yeah, it was horrible. Analogy, Andy? Yeah, but it makes sense. Yeah, to the boomers that are like 30 years old here, it makes sense to us, all right? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was fucking terrible, man. Like, gas now is really bad too. Like, obviously there's a, fucking world war that might happen. But like, all I'm really saying is that, like, I've gone through this before, and I think that this is what happens because, and also I remember how I felt back then. Like, and the thing is, you know what's so funny? Is that back then, you know what people were doing? They were doing Occupy Wall Street, because they said, fuck these 1% pieces of shit that are sitting up there drinking champagne on high-rises, and meanwhile, I'm out here trying to work at McDonald's where they're trying to get my social media passwords so I can make $7 an hour. And I spend 4 of it on gas. You see what I'm saying? And then people got mad. And then here, it's so funny to me because I love thinking about these different analogies, because the more different a scenario is and the more same the outcome is, the more I believe that you come to learn the nature of humans. You come to learn the true human nature of existence. And that's why I find it to be so interesting with these analogies, because these are like 2 completely different worlds, right? You've got fucking America and Arcadia, but it's the same thing. And like, that's so cool to me. Now, obviously both situations fucking suck, but the investigation of them and the discussion of them is very interesting to me. So this is the way I see this, is that it's awful. Like, full stop. It's really, really bad. Like, it is absolutely awful.